Next ethical issue is corporate intelligence. Well, corporate intelligence itself is not an ethical issue. Okay, so let's look at what we mean by corporate intelligence. It is the collection analysis of information on markets, technologies, customers, and competitors, as well as on socio-economic and external political trends. So basically, a company collects information in order to make strategic decisions with regards to being competitive in the market and so on. So being intelligence or collecting all the data analysis, social media, big data and so on to make operational strategic decisions. So corporate intelligence itself is not something that is an ethical issue. Okay. There are three distinct types of intelligence models: passive monitoring system for early warning, tactical field support, and support dedicated to top management strategy. Corporate intelligence involves an in-depth discovery of information from corporate records, court documents, regulatory filings, press releases, as well as any other background information about a company or its executives. So sometimes a company wants to examine its competitors by collecting a lot of information from various sources in order to understand what the competitors are doing, and in order to allow them to make decisions on better strategy and so on. So in principle, there is no ethical issue here. Okay, but there will be ethical issue when it involves corporate espionage. Okay, corporate espionage. um let's see if there's any slide on corporate espionage. No. Okay, so corporate espionage is um obtaining information that are not publicly available, that is a secret of the other company. So spying, using insider information, paying the employees of the other organization to tell their trade secrets and so on. So getting these kinds of sensitive information about the competitor that they do not disclose, it's private information. So that is corporate espionage, and this is unethical. But getting public information that people know, that is publicly available about the other competitor, that is not corporate espionage, that is corporate intelligence, and that is totally ethical. Okay. Next ethical issue is discrimination. Okay, so as discrimination is prejudices based on race, color, religion, sex, marital status, sexual orientation, public assistance status, disability, age, national origin, veteran status, and in the US these are illegal, meaning that organizations make discrimination, or make choices based on race, color, religion, sex, and so on. So these are called discrimination. You give more opportunity, um, give more preference to a certain group of people based on race or color or religion, uh, and um, not giving the same chance to the other type of race, color, or religion. Okay. So in the US, they've come up with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission that protects workplace discrimination, so that organizations do not practice discrimination on the employees based on those prejudices. Okay. Age Discrimination on Employment Act. Okay, so that act outlaws hiring practices that discriminate against people of 40 years or older, as well as those that require employees to retire before the age of 70. So this act is looking at ensuring that employees do not discriminate based on age. Um, Even though there's discrimination is an ethical issue, okay, but uh, there are some affirmative action programs that try to uplift certain groups of people based on that prejudices. However, it has some justification. So it involves effort to recruit, hire, train, and promote qualified individuals from groups that have traditionally been discriminated. So, for example, when in whereas making decision purely based on gender, for example, okay, giving salary higher to a male than to female, even though both of them have perform the same duty, same qualification, same background, same experience, but giving the male worker more salary, that is discrimination. However, if we make some programs in order to allow more women to work in the to have chance to work in the workplace, because they are more marginalized, so as if is giving preference to women, but that is because the women has been discriminated before. So having an affirmative action program to uplift those who are marginalized, that is not considered as discrimination, even though technically it looks like discrimination because we are favoring one group of people over the other. Okay, so but affirmative action programs should have some other more objective basis. Okay, so yeah, so we give a equal more opportunity for, or we encourage female, for example, to join the workplace, but we still put the preconditions. Okay, whether you're female or male, you still need to pass certain requirements, then you will only be considered for the job, for example. Sexual harassment is a very worrying ethical issue. Okay, so sexual harassment is any repeated unwanted behavior of a sexual nature perpetrated upon one individual by another. Okay, so somebody uh, does an unwanted behavior of sexual nature, okay, to another person. Okay, it creates a hostile work environment. Okay, hostile work environment is usually related to sexual harassment. So there are three criteria that is considered when we want to determine whether a work environment is hostile. First is the conduct was unwelcome, meaning that the behavior is something that is unwelcome by the victim. The victim does not like that behavior upon her. Okay, and then the conduct was severe, pervasive, and regarded by the claimant as so hostile and offensive as to alter his or her conditions of employment. It changes, okay, because of that behavior, it changes how the person feel about working. It changes the atmosphere of the work. The conduct was such that a reasonable person would find it hostile or offensive. Any rational person would consider that as being hostile or offensive. Okay, so there have been recommendations on organizations how to avoid sexual misconduct or harassment, and these include an establishment of statement policy. So organizations must have a clear statement or policy regarding sexual misconduct. They must have a definition of what is sexual harassment, so that with proper definition, it is easy to classify whether a person is doing sexual harassment or something else. Establishment of a non-retaliation policy, meaning that the organization or the bosses, the superiors, should not be able to retaliate if their subordinates are complaining of sexual harassment against the superior. So if the superior does sexual harassment, there is protection on the employee against retaliation by the supervisor. 4, establish specific procedures for prevention. There should be some procedures to prevent. Establish a reporting procedure and encourage victims to report. Okay, there should be a proper procedure where victims can report the misconduct, and give encouragement for victims to report. And then number 6, enforce established policies. So any policies must be enforced. Make sure that the company has timely reporting requirements to the proper authorities. Okay. The next ethical issue is fraud. Okay, so fraud is any purposeful communication that deceives, manipulates, or conceals facts in order to harm others. Okay, so there is some communication, and in that communication there is a deceit, there is manipulation, there is misrepresentation in order to conceal certain facts, and with the intention to harm others, or to have unlawful advantage over another person. So there are in businesses there are several areas of fraud, several domains of fraud. The first one is the accounting fraud. Okay, so accounting fraud is when inaccurate information of a company's financial reports, in which companies provide important information on which investors and others base decision. So when organizations produce financial reports, but those financial reports are inaccurate, okay, and which will mislead investors into making wrong decisions. So that is an accounting fraud. There is also marketing fraud, where it's dishonestly creating, distributing, promoting, and pricing products. And there are several types of marketing fraud. Firstly is puffery. Puffery is basically is just exaggerating, okay, exaggerated advertising and boasting upon which no reasonable buyer would rely. So making an extreme claim, but no one in their right mind will believe that claim. Okay, so it's puffery, it's just a play of language, just as a marketing tool, and but people will not take it literally, because it's probably impossible. Okay, so if we say that we have the best coffee in town, so there's no it is something subjective, and people will not believe that in the strict sense. Okay, and then there's the implied falsity, a message that has a tendency to mislead, confuse, or deceive the public. Okay, so implied falsity, we state one statement that is true, but that statement will will influence the receiver of the information to imply something that is untrue. Okay, stating a true fact, but which may induce other people to assume an untrue fact. Okay, so it's implied falsity. And then there's another yeah, and one example is saying our products is 100% natural. Okay, so humble, so the word natural itself, technically there's no proper definition of the word natural, okay, in terms of products. That statement is not wrong. You can say our product is 100% natural. That claim is not wrong. However, those who listen to the that advertisement, they when they see that the advertiser says that the product is 100% natural, they will think natural in terms of so many things. Natural meaning that everything is organic, that that the animal is being fed with non-chemical things. So natural can constitute many meaning among various people. So even the way we say our product is 100% natural, it seems that that statement is not factually wrong. However, it induces people to assume other things that actually is not correct. So that is implied falsity. And then literally false. When advertising says that tests prove establish an establishment claim, when the advertisement cites a study that establishes a claim and bold assertions, non-established claims, when this advertisement makes a claim that cannot be substantiated. Okay, so they tried the marketing space says specifically, okay, that this product is has gone through tests and is 99% effective. Okay, so these are claims, and these claims can be falsified. Okay, so these are literally false. And then there are also ambiguous statements.